Okay. So let's start. Good morning. I'm Antonella Andriani, and I am the Vice President of ADI, that stands for Industrial Design Association. And I'm also the Director of the Master Degree in Italian Strategic Design at the Accademia of Verona, which is hosting this meeting. This is the second meeting of MED, that stands for Meet ADI Designers, and we started this initiative last Friday with Alex Terzariolla, that is the founder of Design, on the Polytechnic of Milan platform, and we will go on until June this year. First of all, I would like to introduce to you and thank Luisa Barbieri. Luisa Barbieri, she's the Media and Public Relations Director in Hangar Design Group. So thank you very much, Luisa, for accepting to be here. Many thanks also to Ambrogio Rossari, which is the coordinator of the Design Department Committee of ADI.
Thank you. Thank you.
Many thanks to the Accademia of Verona for joining MED, and many thanks to Arianna Mazza, who is the tutor of the design course. First of all, let me spend a few words on the initiative on MED before we enter discovering the Hangar Design group. And many thanks, obviously, to all the students, all the designers passionate that are connected today. I know there are students of the Academy, both from the Design Bachelor Degree course and the Italian Strategic Design Master Degree course. There are students from the Arab American University studying the Architectural Design Bachelor Degree course, and there are students from the Polytechnic of Milan and other schools that are connected with us. So thank you for having chosen to spend the next couple of hours together. MED is an initiative of ADI, but why we call MED? We organize it to facilitate the meeting among the masters of design of today and the future master of design that are you students being our future, in order to share what's behind the wonderful project directly from the mouth of who designed them. So it is important, and thank you again, Luisa, for being here. So we are going in a moment to discover the wonderful project designed by the Hangar Design Group. It is an initiative organized together and thanks to ADI members, so members to members, designers that are members to universities that are ADI members. So on one side, thank you to all the designers and all the design studios that are ADI members and that have given the willingness to meet students and people passionate about design. On the other side, on the other hand, thanks to all the universities, the academies, and the institutes that are ADI members and are cooperating to organize these meetings. If you want to follow, we are organizing almost 50 meetings. So starting from since last Friday, we will go on up to June. If you want to follow also the other meeting, please, I'm going to insert in the chat. Okay. So check the ADI webpage if you want to discover the whole calendar and follow other meetings. Why MED? We chose this name because we want to underline with irony that it takes a bit of madness to be a designer and carry out a professional design studio. So, few words on ADI. I'm sure everybody knows ADI and the Compasso d'Oro, but just for people not knowing ADI, ADI stands for Industrial Design Association, and it is the association representing in Italy the whole design product change. So, from the very beginning, we would say cradle to cradle. So from the concept idea up to the production, from designers to magazine and so on. ADI is a non-profit organization founded in 1956, having the purpose to promote and contribute to implement the most appropriate conditions for design and services to be designed, introducing cultural debates and intervening in institutions and providing services to better design a better world. The members, as I mentioned before, are designers, companies, design schools, design journalists, design magazines, and so on and so forth. And ADI is the association that confers the Compasso d'Oro Award, that is considered the Nobel of Design. So let's start saying that Hangar Design Group won a Compasso d'Oro in 2011. So probably we will talk about that later on. And through the Compasso d'Oro Foundation, ADI manages the historical Compasso d'Oro collection, which in 2024 was recognized as an heritage of our country, because it gives a picture of our culture, of our history, of our transformation from a cultural, social, and economical point of view. The historical Compasso d'Oro collection constitutes the ADI Design Museum that is ready to be opened, and hopefully we will open soon once COVID will be over. If you're asking if you as students can apply to become an ADI member, so if you are professional designers, design thinking companies, etc., the answer is yes. If you are design students, you can apply to become a socio aspirante, literally means aspiring member, and the membership for you is free. So once again, please check the web link. If you want to discover, I wrote it on the chat, if you want to discover how to become an aspirante socio. But let's move to the very big protagonist of today, which is Hangar Design Group and Luisa Barbieri. Let's start by saying once again that a few years ago, the studio won the ADI Compasso d'Oro for the project of the mobile home called Sunset. Since 1980, so almost more than 40 years ago, they start playing into different grounds, including from brands, identities to new products, from exhibition spaces design to communication tools, designing retail spaces, digital environments. How can I say? The studio approach design from 360 degrees, covering essentially all the design phases of the design process around the world, because the studio operates at international level, working and moving and spreading across the entire world. So I don't want to keep talking, so please, Luisa, reveals what are the secrets of your so lasting success And please tell us what is the point of madness of Hangar Design Group?
Well, thank you, Antonella, and thank you, ADI, for inviting us. It's always a pleasure to be here and to be able to talk to an audience made of young people eager to enter our professional world. What I will try to explain in this meeting is, well, to give an idea of the variety of things that we do, because I think compared also to the other design studios that you invited, that I saw on that are due to speak in the next few weeks, I think what makes us a little different from most of them is probably the variety of sectors we work for, and the variety also of services, as you just said, that we can provide. So I will make a little introduction on who we are, and then I will go forward and show you some of our projects focusing on product and furniture design. As I understand, that is your focus. But the multidisciplinary approach has always been very important for us. And what we like to call ourselves is a brand design agency rather than just a design studio, meaning that we approach the world of product design as part of a more complex, in a way, brand strategy. So for us, product design is very often the result of a longer process that we approach with the client, and whose goal is to redefine the brand identity, first of all, and brand scope. So as Antonella was saying, we have 40 years of experience behind us, which in a way provides us with of a lot of expertise when we approach new projects. At the same time, though, it is essential for all of us, and especially for us who have quite a lot of history behind on our back, to stay in tune with the current problems. And the past year was really a tough challenge for every one of us, as it really compelled us to work in a different way and to find new ways of collaborating with our clients and meeting new demands. So I will start with the slides that I brought with me. So I will share the presentation so we can follow a more consistent thread. So, okay, so that is where I am now, this little home. We're based in somewhere between Venezia and Treviso, so in the northeast of Italy. We also have offices in Milan, in Shanghai, and in New York. But we still are very rooted in our territory. As I said, in the 40 years of experience, we've been working very much with the many industrial companies that are here in northeast of Italy. And in a way, the growth of the agency also followed the growth of the northeastern territory of Italy. The founders were two architects that they founded Hangar Design Group in the early 80s, in fact, in 1980. And although we've been approaching very different sectors and very different kinds of work, I must say that the architectural practice and the architectural education that they received and that they passed on to the other collaborators that came, that joined the company later on, has been a very a continuous cultural trait, a cultural mark in a way that has been very important throughout our development. In a way, we are recognized even in the communication field to have our own signature that is very rigorous, very design-oriented, very architectural in a way. So the education, the path, the educational path that was the original cultural background of the two founders has been passed on also to the new generation of designers that were working here. Now we are around between 40 and 50 people. As I said, we're in Venice and Milan, but also Shanghai is a very important office for us, as I think around 40% of our current turnover comes from the Shanghai branch. What we do is we provide all kinds of services in brand design, as I was saying before. So if I had to say what are the areas which are most important for us, I would say strategic design and strategic consultancy has become probably the main area that we work on, which very practically means that more and more often in the past 10 years, I would say 10, 15 years, companies have come to us to not only to develop new ideas for products, not only to develop new ideas for communications, but above all to develop a new idea of their own brand, as they would have to adapt to a new world. And just think about the digital revolution and what it meant and what it has, what a challenge it has been, and it still is for many companies, especially in the furniture sector, which is not particularly innovative in that sense compared to other sectors. So strategic consultancy services have been our main area of intervention the past 10, 15 years, I would say. Branding, which is very closely related to the first. Design in all its meanings, in all its declinations. So, of course, product and interior design, but retail, for example, has been a very important area of development for us. And obviously, digital design also has been very important the past years, and ever more important in the last few months, and will be the key area of intervention for the next years. That's something we all have learned during the pandemic, and that's something that will stay. I think that will be the focus definitely of all future development. And the challenge here is how to blend, how to mix all these services and all these challenges all together in a coherent and consistent way for every company and every brand to develop and to be competitive on their own market. As I said, we still are very grounded in Italy. We still the main part of our clients is still from Italy, although, as I said, the Asian market has become more and more important. And the consultancy has been prevailing in terms of turnover over project and over product design in the past few years. So these are just some of the brands we've been working on, but before going to show you some of our projects, I would like to summarize just the key concepts about our approach to design and the brand design culture. As I said, the architectural background has been a very important legacy for us and for the new generation of designers that are working here. Retail has been a very important area of experimentation also in the past 15 years, I would say. And that also led us to a more consistent view on what brand design is, in the sense that it has compelled us to reflect on how the brand needs to, or a brand needs to express itself throughout all its touch points, be them physical or digital. So we work worldwide, as I said, but Italy and Asia are the main markets. So now, before going on to the projects, just a few words on how we approach the every new challenge in product design. As I was saying, I try to focus on this theme. And the first case history that I would like to talk about is a project that we developed for the FAB, which is a company based here in Veneto and specialized in the office furniture. This is a project that dates back a few years, but I think it's still very interesting, because in the past year we've been talking so much about how do we put together our needs of balancing our work life, now that work has become has entered our own homes, and we have to adapt to new ways of working from home, for example, and or to new ways of working even in the office, because if there's one thing that we have learned from the past few months, is that the way we work either at home or in the office has changed, probably in a more permanent way. Designing office furniture, for example, can be a very it can be a challenge, in the sense that it leads us to think about the new ways we have to approach the work experience, and how do we balance that with our own personal lives. So if you're familiar with the design thinking process, I try to put together the different phases we've been going through when we developed this project for the FAB. The first thing, of course, was to assess the needs of the companies, and to assess what were the real needs of the final user. So we studied how, together with our clients, we studied how the work environment was changing. Now, this is obviously dating back a few years, so it's pre-pandemic. This is something we would never see today, as but we hopefully will see in the next future. Anyway,
actually they are not so close, so it could be
that's
sort
true.
of.
That's true. Just a few screens. But the project dates back of the early, I think 2010, I think so, maybe 10 years ago. So it's quite a while, but still, even 10 years ago, there was a lot of talk about how the work environment changes when the work, the very idea of work is changing. How do offices adapt to new ways of collaborating, to new ways of changing perspectives? The life of a single worker changes many times. So how do, and the needs of a company must adapt to the demands of their own clients. So how do we approach and how do we provide solutions for that? So analyzing the behavior of people in their own spaces, and how the networks of people use their spaces and use the furniture that are available to them to fulfill new needs. That was the main issue of the project. So we tried several ideas, and the idea was, the main focus was to find a very basic module that you could combine in many different ways, and you could reshape every time the company would need to redesign their own workspaces. So we try to identify all the various needs within one office unit, and to identify which were the best solutions in terms of modules, in terms of modular design, to fulfill all those needs. This was one of the very first designs, and I must say that DFB is a company that specializes in metal work furniture. So this was a very early design, which did not go obviously into production. That was very close to what the company was producing at the time. We then passed on to more to work on the possibilities of combining more freely the same modules, and to convert in a way to the design of, I mean, compared to this, which is clearly office furniture. Here, we try to create some new shapes with very light design and very simple lines that could recreate also a more friendly environment, and also maybe merge into work space that could be also be in a home. I mean, that could also live and be put in, I mean, to be used in a home office, for example. There was a variation. This is variation of the very early concepts. And here we start seeing that we thought of using the idea of the lock, that you see in the metal cabinets that are used in the offices, as also as a design element that could be used to decorate in a way also and give that could give personality to the very different modules. So from the little lock, we passed on to the idea of using these frontal dots as a leitmotif that would be found in all the modules and in all the combinations. And also here we added some color, which at the time was not so usual in office furniture. The dots were not only for decorative purpose, but also are functional to connect the different models together. So we then developed further the modules, and from the 3 dots we passed on to this particular sign that you see here, this elongated dot and the locker. And that was the final result. Now, as I said, this dates back a few years ago now. If we had to redesign that today, of course, we would definitely stress the possibility of not only of modular design, but also of a friendlier environment that could very well live in your homes, in your offices at home. But then it was already very new, and also the idea of using color was not, at least for the company we're working for, was not at all, but I mean, it was quite new. So it was already something that they really changed the perspective of what they were doing before. Also in we still are in a very I mean, we passed on to another project here. We're not talking about any longer about offices, but we're talking about urban design. This is a bench that was designed for a small company rooted here in Veneto, working with metal. And the idea was to develop a bench that could be used for urban design and for outdoor purposes. So we played with different textures and with different metals, and with the combination of those with other materials such as wood. And we try again to develop a modular system that could adapt to different environments. The same elements were also recombined for a light turret that could be that could serve a lighting needs for urban areas or outdoor areas. And that is the final result, which is very close actually to what we designed in the first place. This is rather unusual because normally during the design process, you start with an idea and then you come up with a very different product. Like in this case, it was I mean the final product was quite close to what we designed in the beginning. Of course, a bench or a little turret has much less constraints than an office furniture system, for example. So it's easier to remain faithful to your original idea. That's another project we developed for CAM. CAM is one of the main producers of remote controls and security systems. These were different. The goal was to redesign a gate outdoor selector. So we developed different ideas, and then with different approaches. Then the company came back with their own ideas, so we passed on to the technical development, and we passed on to the prototyping phase, and these were the output that at the end of the process. So as you see, compared to the first proposals, here we have a much simpler, in a way, a much more rigorous design, and with only in black and white, that we prototype it in first with a 3D printer, and then with a company that made the final prototypes. This is the mobile home, talking about another project that we did in 2008, and then it led us to the Compasso d'Oro in 2011. This is one of the projects that we've been most known for, I would say, because at the time it was quite new, and it was quite unusual to think about of a home module that could be thought of as a industrial product, in a way. So the idea was to innovate the idea of a prefabricated house with a new module that would take in a lot of more design and decoration aspects than the other modules that were on the market. The client at the time was the first idea was to develop a mobile home for a company that was selling these modules to the hospitality sector, for example, campings on the Adriatic coast, or other hospitality structures.
The glamping is very fishy at this time.
Sorry?
The glamping, so the glamorous camping is very
Sì.
fancy. So you
Absolutely.
anticipate the idea at the time.
So yes, and at the time, in fact, as a matter of fact, it was a need that were, these hospitality structures they didn't find on the market something that would fit also the demands of more high-spending clientele. So the modules that were available were very simple, much cheaper, of course, but they would limit the possibility of approaching a higher spending client, and so what we tried to do was to design a complete, the home, a mobile home in less than 30 meters. I think it was 32 square meters. With all the functions of a normal flat or a holiday home, but in a very compact space. There were two models, one for the mountains and one for the beach or a more urban context. So these are the different models. I have a little video if you want to, if you have, you know, we could watch for like 1 minute that will explain better than I'm doing now the design ideas that is behind it. So if you like to, if you allow me, I think that's the video that was actually
sorry, Luisa, because you are, as you are sharing the application, we're not seeing, so you have to interrupt. Sorry for that. We have to interrupt the. Okay.
Aspetta, allora, interrompi. Ok.
Okay. Okay, we can see it. We cannot hear the sound if there's a sound. Okay, we can hear it. Thank you.
Okay.
Also, the production time is amazing.
Okay. So this was to show you how the effort was not only, of course, to design a nice environment and a beautiful home thought of as a, or conceived as a industrial product, a turnkey object that you would put in an outdoor space. But the characteristics of energetic efficiency, noise reduction, and zero impact were absolutely important, even from the very early phase of a very early design phase. I must say that the fact of working with Pirker, which is a company based in Trentino Alto Adige, which is specialized in woodwork, basically in wood materials, and who's very who paid, even at that time, which was less common than today, a very strong attention to all the efficiency aspects and all of the energetic issues that were that came with the idea of making a whole home that you could move and put in the early ideas in your garden, although this is not so easy to do, but that was very important, and they managed to have the Casa Clima certification, which is an important certification for energy saving and efficiency. And at the time it was quite innovative, so that's probably the fact that was probably the reason why it seemed so interesting to ADI, and why also it really innovated the industry. To be very honest, in Italy and in Europe, it didn't have that much of a commercial success, especially because in Italy, a private consumer would be we had a huge interest on behalf of individual consumers who would need to have information and would like to buy one. But still, I think in Italy, the regulations for like mobile homes like this are very strict. So it's not so easy as, for example, in the United States or in other markets to locate one. So I heard that IKEA has been developing a very similar project lately, destined to the American market, and that makes a lot of sense, as you might know, in United States, mobile homes are much more common than here. But still, it was a very challenging project and really opened our mind and our eyes onto all the implications that there are behind even an industrial product like this, and how important it is to think about all the issues concerning all the environmental issues that are implied in every time you start designing something that will have an impact, or in some ways will have to be contextualized in a specific environment. I would like, though, to go on to other projects that we've been working on in the past few years, just to show you, as I said, the scope also of our work and the very different sectors that we've been working for.
Sorry, Luisa, before I forgot to mention the fact that I asked you to focus on the furniture design, because today is the starting date of the Milan Design Week. So it's a sort of a celebration of this period. We were used to be focused on furniture because of the International Fair of Furniture. Because of COVID, we know that il Salone del Mobile, the International Fair, is not there. Hopefully, it will be soon in September or later next year. But in any case, it is a manner to celebrate the furniture design today that we are starting the Milan Design Week. So thank you. I think it's important because you did a lot. And I was myself asking to you to concentrate on furniture design. So thank you for that.
Well, no, well, it's a pleasure, but I must say that we've been working on furniture design, as I said before, very often within a broader context. For example, what I'm showing you now is a professional kitchen. Now we never worked on kitchens, I might say, like consumer kitchens, but we've been working in the past 10 years a lot for the professional kitchen sector, and in general for the catering industry. That's easy to understand, as the whole idea of now the world has changed in the past 10 years, so we don't even remember what it's like to go to a restaurant and have a dinner with friends. But until a few months ago, that was the restaurant and the catering industry has been booming in the past years. So we had a lot of work in the past few years for producers, manufacturers of industrial or professional kitchens that would serve fine restaurants. And what I'm not showing right now, also we worked a lot in the communication or in the brand redesign of many restaurants and chefs. So like if I had to compare to the previous decades, we really saw a shift in the last decade towards everything that would be connected to food and to the idea of sharing food with others, and to a new food culture. All the culture about fine dining and the influence of these big names as chefs or in the food system, they really had an impact on our work. So Silco is one brand of a very large group of companies, probably one of the largest, if not the largest in Europe, which is called the Ali Group, that gathers a lot of, I think, more than 20 or very many companies, all specialized in the professional kitchens or food systems or appliances for restaurants or professional catering. And that was also a challenge for us, because we never designed anything like this before. And we applied the same approach that we've been developing for other previous projects. So the same rigor towards very simple and geometric shapes, very rigorous architectural forms that would have an impact also on the look of a professional kitchen. That is due also to the new trend for restaurants, for example, to put in plain sight their kitchens, so that their guests could actually see the chefs at work. And that imposed a new idea of a new attention, a new kind of attention also to the professional appliances that are inside a restaurant kitchen, for example. So we didn't design only the outer shape of the kitchen, but also all the details, for example, the handles or the structures of different modules, like the frying machine or the different modules that are that accessorize the kitchen. Another example for another company, but very closely related, is this other project that so as redesign the shape of professional coolers and refrigerating machines. So here now it's hard to see, but we redesigned also the logo and all the communication system of the brand. So this is to show you how we approach product design. It's not only a matter of giving a new shape to a piece of furniture, but the project is developed within a broader context of a brand system. So Ilsa, the logo, the Ilsa logo was redesigned. The letter I has become also the main element for the texture of the refrigerating parts. So it's these little details define the personality in a way of the line, and definitely give a more coherent and consistent look and unify in a way the whole line of products. Always talking about professional industries. Again, a project for Cinetica, which is again a company in the world of office furniture. This is a very old project, actually. One of the very first that we did in product design, in furniture design. Here you see a table, but in fact it's a system of desks and tables that can be combined together. And again, we have the idea of not only drawing a single unit, but drawing a whole system. So that is a recurrent demand from the world of office design. So that is to provide solutions for a more fluid, a more changing, a more an evolving workspace. Here the solution was to combine very light lines with this triangular section of the legs and of the metal profile. That is the main characteristic of the whole project. Now we switch to something more decorative, definitely, and that leads me also to talk about another aspect which I haven't mentioned so far of our activities. Of course, we've been working with a lot of companies that are all that are all committed to the consumer or the professional world, but also we've been taking time in a way to cultivate also other activities, which are in a way side activities for us, as are not, but very important to develop a shared culture also within our own teams and our own groups. Since very early 90s, I think, or probably mid-90s, so it's more than 25 years, I think. We've been associated with the Peggy Guggenheim collection in Venice, so the Museum of Modern American Art that you surely know. And we part of a group of companies that are called Intraprese, and basically we support the activities of the museum. And we share with other companies that have joined with us this initiative by the Peggy Guggenheim, a same interest in combining, in supporting art and art projects developed by the museum. Why I say this? It's because this light system, this pendant light, has been developed with Vistosi, which is a lighting producer not far from here, for the Peggy Guggenheim Museum. In the collaboration with the museum, we've also been developing projects, and in particular, we've redesigned the Peggy Guggenheim Cafe. And on this occasion, we also designed a customized lamp system. Vistosi is a company which is now here in Mogliano Veneto, actually very, very close to us, but is rooted in the glass culture coming from Murano in a way. So what we see here is a blown glass lamp. And we were inspired by modernist art that you would see also in the galleries of the museum. So the first project was a 9 lights suspension lamp that then developed also outside the context of the collaboration with the Peggy Guggenheim Museums, and was translated into different projects. So we experimented with mouth-blown glass and for other solutions for suspension lamps, for example, these ones that really challenges the limits of mouth-blown glass because it has very rigorous geometric shape. So it implies that you need to have special molds to blow this according to traditional techniques that Vistosi still uses. And also it led us to collaborate further to a third and very successful family of suspension lamps that is now actually still in Vistosi catalog and has been very successful in the past years. So that is just to say that, when you start working on a project, it often leads to other developments that sometimes are even unexpected or surprising in one way. Now, this is something completely different. This is something completely different, but still it reminds us of how, for us, product design is part of a larger project. Bertoni is a Milan-based manufacturer of bags, leather bags, and leather suitcases. We started collaborating with them on a redesign of their own brand, as they had been the supplier for many luxury brands that are on the market, very, very well known. But they wanted to launch their own brand, and they had to define the whole brand system. So from the logo to everything, all the communication tools, all the touch points that would actually interact with consumers. So we designed the whole process from the logo to the website to the art direction of the different photo shooting that we did. We designed the sets, the exhibition booths at the fairs. We designed the window display at La Rinascente at the Duomo. So we really helped the brand to define all its expressions. What we did not design was obviously the collections of bags and suitcases. But as we like to do things that we never done before, because that's a part of the fun and the madness that you were talking about, we also challenged ourselves to design a woman's bag, and that's the result of what we developed for Bertoni. Of course, this was a divertissement in a way for us, and also for Bertoni, because it's a very particular product, but the idea was to enhance the capability and the ability of the artisanal craftsmanship that Bertoni has in working with very precious leathers and very precious material, like different kind of woods, and adapt them to their own products. And here it's a bag, but it's more, I mean, I would say it's more, it's not a piece of furniture, but it's like, working on an accessory as, not really for, for the sake of doing something that is usable, but something that is really a game in a way of shapes, and very playful, as although it does reflect our own approach to as I was saying before, the architectural background is still very visible, I think, still very it really influences also our approach to other fields. So for Bertoni, we also developed other kinds of accessories. For example, this is a portable trunk that can be turned into a desk. So a portable desk, basically. Here again, the details are what make the difference. I mean, they're all very carefully manufactured, and the craftsmanship of the company really comes forward and is emphasized by the different details. Another exercise that we did with Bertoni was this other product that is a variation of the previous one. This is a game trunk, meaning that within this suitcase, that is a portable suitcase, you find different sets. For example, the chess sets, which we designed in all its parts, even in the little pieces of different chess. So this, again, as I said, it was a divertissement for us, but at the same time, it was a way to challenge ourselves with different materials and different approaches compared to what we do usually. Black and white is also a theme that is recurring in all our projects, and even here in this other project of decorative vases. Again, I think it's some kind of signature of our work. This was developed for Nasone Moretti, which is a company based in Murano, and working with very traditional techniques. So the idea was to do something more modern and more contemporary with very old and traditional techniques. So here we have a problem in visualizing something different, but we see it here. In terms of furniture design, we another project that was quite interesting in the past few years has been what we developed for Rosato home collection. So Rosato is a small company based here in Veneto, which is specialized in design for in furniture for hotels and the hospitality industry, but wanted to have its own collections to be able to come up with a proposal for the contract sector and for a different kind of clientele than the one they had. So we developed for them a whole collection of furniture pieces that would go together, and they were all, the idea was to give a contemporary interpretation of classic and luxury furniture environment. So we designed screens, we designed sofas and tables and desks. Now I only have a couple of images here, but like this armchair, some other cupboards and furniture pieces. The idea was to use and to put forward, again, the artisanal craftsmanship that Rosato has and the capability of doing tailor-made project. So the client would be able to choose the materials and colors and even dimensions. The client would be able to make it personal and customized to its own needs. We shift again with to another kind of projects. Maybe you know Listone Giordano is very well known manufacturers of coverings and floorings. And this leads me back to what I was saying before about the Peggy Guggenheim collections and to how new projects stem from even unexpected encounters. Listone Giordano has been supporting also the Peggy Guggenheim collection, and this project for floor covering was developed for an exhibition in the Peggy Guggenheim collection. They wanted a whole environment to be designed for the new exhibitions, including the floor coverings. So that's what we developed for this occasion, and also in this case it was inspired to the art that was being exhibited at the time. This first encounter with Listone Giordano led to a further project that was this other floor covering and this other one. So we have two floor coverings. Here the demand of the company was to combine the warmth and the pleasure of wood with a more luxurious look, in a way that was dedicated to a higher spending clientele. So we designed something that would combine wood with metal and provide a more glamorous, if you want to use this word, glamorous look to the wall covering. So it's very it has a very strong personality and really influences the way you perceive the whole space. Talking about something different, one aspect also that we've been approaching very often, and it is linked, immediately linked to brand design, is packaging. Packaging also means designing new shapes for what all the products that are containing, you know, food or water in this case. So we designed a new bottle for Ferrarelle. Ferrarelle, of course, I think you all know. For the ones who don't know, the brand name is one of the most famous Italian mineral water producers, who were in the need of having a special edition, in a way, a special bottle for the fine dining restaurants. So we designed the bottle, and this was the feature that would make it different. Now, it's when you talk about, for example, bottles for mineral water, you have to meet several constraints for industrial production and for all the phases of the industrial process. So the creative element needs to needs to meet all these constraints that are quite challenging. So we developed a shape that would still fit the existing packaging and industrial system, production system that the company was already had already implemented, but at the same time would still be very identifiable and recognizable. And we aimed at a 3D texture, and so the name Ferrarelle is in relief on the surface. This particular element, which is also a very practical function of better holding the bottle, has become the signature of this line of Ferrarelle products. And this also was, I think, it was one design award. I don't think it. Maybe it was also in the ADI Index award at the time. And talking also about water and liquids and food culture. One of the last projects, and then I'm done because I've been talking too much now right now. One of the last projects that we really are fond of is this particular one that we developed for Asira, which is the name, the abbreviated name of Art Ceramics. It's a Taiwanese company that before meeting us, I would, but that sounds too. That sounds a little bit too much. But they had a very strong know-how in traditional ceramic manufacturing. Basically, they would do very traditional products, and in particular tea and mugs and teapots for that are sold throughout China. And they wanted to make this particular object, which is a travel mug, which is a thermal container basically, and to sell it in worldwide. For example, they have now a very strong presence in the American market. But to do so, they had to translate this very traditional designs of ceramic holders into more contemporary shapes and in a more international language, design language. So again, we designed the whole process. We not only redesigned the shape of the bottle. In this case, it's a limited edition that was done for La Rinascente. but we also redesigned the whole communication of the brand and the context, the communication context in which it was presented. For example, we did all the art direction for all the shootings, for all the photo shootings that we've been doing in the past years for the different collections. We've been designing many declinations of the same mug with different textures, with different colors and light motifs, depending on the seasonal collection that we're presenting. And this is the most popular of all, which also was won also quite a few awards. And the idea was to translate a very traditional object into a more contemporary context by enhancing also its own characteristics. For example, this kind of ceramics is made also with tourmaline powder, which purifies in a way, releases negative ions to purify the water and the liquids that are inside. So it has some physical features and some design features that actually make it very special. And that was quite a success, as I said, not as much in Europe, but it has been very successful in the United States. One last thing, just to close the whole gallery of projects, has been is this line of scent diffusers that we presented not long ago for Fazzini. Fazzini is also an Italian company of textile home textiles, for which we been developing all the communication tools and systems. We've been working with them a lot for many years on the communication side, and as a result of this very long partnership, we also designed some objects that would go with their own collection, with their own textile collections. So this is a family of home diffusers that accompany their own textile collections and that complete their commercial offer. Well, that is an overview of quite a few of the, I would say, recent project that we've been working on. I could go on for like a long time describing many others. As I said, in 40 years, we managed to collect quite a few. But I think I've been, even too, I don't want to bore you any longer. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, Luisa. You never bored us, so it was so amazing listening to you and seeing your project spreading from the bottles, because you were one step behind, because now everybody is designing bottles and mugs and so on because of COVID, and it's quite fancy, but it was not at that time. So being always on the crest is quite complicated. I would like to ask Ambrogio if he has some question, also a few words from his long career, because also we're here as ADI, but Ambrogio Rossari is a long-lasting success designer. So what's your impression?
Well, thank you, Luisa, for your speech. I think it was very interesting, the approach you have with the designing, the design that I think it's, I share it. It's interesting to design everything, no? From the product to the communication, or even to the place where you sell the product, no?
Exactly.
It's a quite interesting. Not many offices of design do this kind of approach. Then I have perhaps a stupid question. Why the name Hangar Design Group?
Well, that is easy to answer. In the first slide, there was a little home, and that is exactly where I am now. And it's two buildings. There were there are two twin buildings, and in the early 20th century, so I think before the First World War, they were used as warehouses for how do you say, dirigibili?
Yes.
Zeppelin, I would say
Exactly.
Zeppelin.
Yes, Zeppelin. And the first aeroplanes, basically, since here now it's I'm in the heart of the Northeast, so it's hard to think about this area as a countryside, as now it's basically one diffuse urban area, but it was really in the middle of the countryside 100 years ago, and there were the first I think airplanes, military places just around here, so that's where the name comes from, because it was really a hangar for airplanes.
I thought it was connected to airplanes, but I was just curious.
Yes.
Curiosity, it's one of our let's say.
In fact, if you see on my in the back, I have quite a few pictures of the different Zeppelins as we collect them throughout the offices. And so
it was the time of dirigibilis.
Exactly. And that has become also a piece of storytelling, by the way, talking about brand, building brands. In a way, that has been part of building our own brand, because the name has actually an historical reason, but it helped us to, to convey the idea of, have, as our tagline says, letting ideas fly, and the idea of flight, the idea of creativity as a metaphoric flight also helped us to convey our approach to things.
Thank you.
Okay, there's a question by Jacopo Migliorini. If you want to switch on your webcam, Jacopo. It's not important for you to write down the question. It's just to see you write down if you want to ask a question. So Jacopo usually has problem connecting, so hopefully. Usually we see him twice because he's connected with the video on the computer and with the mobile phone for the audio. No, okay. The video is not there. So switch on the microphone. So the microphone, so you can ask the question. I can read it for you. What do you think is the best way for young aspiring professionals to fit into high-level environment like this one? What qualities are thought and required?
Well, I'm not sure what to mention first. Definitely open-mindedness and capability of accepting the challenge of doing something that you don't know how to do. Like you have to challenge yourself every time, and of course you have to have also technical skills that you come from your educational background. So you know, being familiar with main software programs that are used in our profession is a very important thing to have. But I would say that if I have to, you know, think back of you know, the many people that have been here and the ones who have stayed and have been collaborating with us for a very long time, is the capability of accepting always new challenges. Because there's one thing that we definitely have to face every morning, is the fact that we will be doing something different every time. As you probably saw, the project that we deal with are very different, and the clients we deal with are very different from one another. So it is very difficult to repeat ourselves. You, of course, with experience, you learn how to deal, to develop a constructive approach to very different problems, but we never stop learning, we never stop evolving. So we need to have people in our teams that are accepting this continuous challenge of and that accept be also asked of you know, finding something new. And what we expect from the younger people coming in is to have new ideas and new ways of approaching old and new problems. I think in this way, past year, more than ever, we see that the digital element, the digital dimension, because it's not only a matter of software, it's not only a matter of activities. Like, for example, in the past year, we've been asked what our clients have been asking of us is to accompany them and help develop the brands in all the digital touch points. So that was also for us a big challenge, because we're not, we're not a web agency, so we had to put ourselves, in question, and we had to acquire new capabilities, new expertise. So I would say the most important trait is to be able to be always open and accepting new challenges and be ready to evolve. I don't know if that's a good answer, because there's no recipe for that, but I think being flexible and yes, the technology and the digital competence is very important.
Thank you.
And be curious, as Achille Castiglioni said several years ago.
That's
curious,
fundamental.
don't do it. Don't do our profession.
And that's if I may add, that's the work. That's the best part of our work, and also the most challenging one, because even I, who've been here for a long time, and even my colleagues who are seniors, who have been working here for 20 years maybe, every client is different, even if it's the same, if they all come from the same context, for example, furniture design or furniture industry. Every client has different problems, and you have to give them different answers and solutions. So, and that's a challenge every time. And one thing you need to do is to listen, first of all. So is to listen and be receptive to what the clients tells you about his own problems and his clients' problems. And there's no prefabricated solution. So that is a challenge every time. But also, that's what makes it interesting.
Thank you.
Yes, and guess what, Jacopo, could you please tell us what you're studying, not only at the Academy Design, but you have to run now because you have to have other lessons, what you're studying? I know the answer, but just share this typicality of you.
I don't understand.
Oh, Jacopo. You're also a musician. I was talking about the fact that you study also at,
In a music academy.
okay, we got it.
Okay.
So talking about the fact of keep moving and being curious, Jacopo is also a musician. So maybe you have to improve your English, but you are a lot curious, curious a lot.
Yes, and for example, for us, since we do so many different projects, also in communication design. For example, I have colleagues who are architects, we're also photographers, or graphic designers, but also, they can do video making. So this multiple competences are very precious because they give you a broader view on different problems. So I think it's a very precious gift if you have many talents.
Okay. There's another question from Ionescu Petronella. Petronella, if you can switch on the Microsoft, the Microsoft. I can get today. I'm not able to say that word. Microphone. Okay.
Yeah. I'm Petronella Ionescu, and I was very impressed by the mobile home. I wanted to ask if there was a darkening mode for the windows, which prevented the house from getting too hot in summer.
Well, the idea was to have basically energetical autonomy through through the photovoltaic system that was mounted on the home, so that would give energy also to the possible conditioning system to be, and the materials that were used were also conceived to reduce all heat and cooling problems as far as possible. I don't have a precise answers about the windows because that's I would have to to ask that to my colleagues, to my that are more into the technical details. I can get back to you on that point if you're interested in that specific issue.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I do have a question because we've been talking about methods. What about time? How long the project lasted? Because students usually think that they draw something on a piece of paper and the day after the project is done. So how long?
Well, no, you mean the mobile home?
Generally speaking, choose a couple of projects and talk about time. How long
I think the mobile home in particular lasted years, actually. I mean, from the first studies to the first prototypes and then the final release. I think it took at least 2 years, at least. And then there were many intermediate steps because we started working for a company but then they were not able to develop the project properly. Then we switched with Pirker, who was interested in producing a mobile home with specific energetic characteristics. So the relationship with the clients was key to the solutions of all these aspects that were very important to the success of the whole project. And again, the research about materials and technical solution is can be a very long one. But even in the more simple products, for example, like a line of vases, like it's only decorative project, and it doesn't have any difficulty in or precise constraints on behalf of the client. Even that needs to be developed in close relationship with the client, because each technique, each material, each industry has its own constraints, and you have to work in close relationship with your client, and the final result, the final product, always is the result of an exchange of an interaction between the designer and the client. And in all cases, I would say, the manufacturing culture and the manufacturing know-how that the client has is absolutely essential to the designer. So my advice is to be in touch and cultivate the relationship with the clients, and also from a more technical point of view, and interact with the people who are in charge of production to understand what are the constraints and what are the solutions that I can provide to your ideas and make them possible.
Thank you.
Can I ask one thing? Excuse me. Sorry, there was mobile phone that was ringing. Is there any products that went on production, of the products that went on production during all your life of Hangar Design Group? Which one is the one that you love more? The one that gave you more satisfaction?
I think in the past years, I think we've been we worked with them a lot. So there was also a lot of time involved, was the work with the Taiwanese company Arcira for it was, as I said, it was not only the fact of designing a new thermal mug, but it was really the challenge was really to match a very traditional culture, a very traditional Asian object that would, like our colleagues in China, they use every day. They always have their own ceramic bottle on the desk, and they take them with them all the time. And unfortunately, I don't have here the first images of the product that we're producing at the time, but it was the kind of products that they were producing were very traditional, decorated, heavily decorated, enameled, and sparkling mugs. With the flowers and dragons and all the Chinese imagery that they still keep doing for the raw market, but that would have never, they could not sell that in other countries. So the challenge of translating all that culture into something that was meeting the taste and the needs of a Western audience, a Western clientele, was very challenging and taught us a lot about first of all about ceramics and about developing international strategies for brands. One thing that is quite, we like to say when you're asked about our experience in China, we always say we started working in China. I think it was in 2004, so a long time ago. And the first works we did was for Italian companies landing in China and needing, consultancy services or projects for establishing themselves on the Chinese market. But now, today, we work with our Chinese branch essentially for Chinese brands who needs to talk to an international market. So it's quite the opposite. It's quite the the kind of clientele that we serve there is completely different from the beginning. We serve mainly Chinese companies wanting to play on a global scale. And they need, sometimes they come to us because we're Italian and, we are, they think that we have, maybe, right or wrong, I don't know, but we have an international styles that could be more in tune with the Western audiences. So for them, it's important to have a different point of view that is more international, more global, and also, Italy is still a very important point of reference for, everything that is related to design, style, and even fashion.
Are there any other question? Don't be shy. You can make silly question for the occasion.
Can I ask you the last question?
No, I'm making the last question. Roger, you know that
I'll give you the last
the last word.
The last word. No, is there any? Surely there is some project that didn't go on production, and that Hangar Design Group loved it very much, but for a lot of reasons it didn't go on production. And
to be honest, there were a lot of projects that didn't go in production. Or they did go in production, then were dismissed very short time after they went into production.
No, but the question was to explain to the students. There are many reasons why some products are not successful, or the company think are not suitable for the market or something. Can you explain a little bit this?
Yeah, maybe the reasons, not the products, because it's not so.
Well, to talk about something that we've seen in details, even the mobile home had a much less commercial impact than we thought, in the beginning, because of the different regulations that are still valid in Italy, and they do force the people who wanting to buy like a mobile home, whether that one or another one, to respect the same regulations as if they were building a house. So they have to have building permissions in order to have a mobile home, in their gardens or whatever. So at the end of the day, it doesn't, the investment, the global investment was probably too high. So as I said, in other markets, it works much better because they have different regulations that are, make the possibility of installing a mobile home much easier. So that, in a way, that's an example of something we didn't consider enough, or probably the producer didn't consider, at least for the Italian market. Although they still do, they still produce, they still have that project in their own catalog, but I think they themselves found it difficult to put it on the market on a local scale. As for other projects, there can be many different reasons. Either the products doesn't have the right response from the consumers, or the price point is too high, or then some, there can be also a different, a change in strategy for on behalf of the clients that, for example, needs to redefine its commercial policies. And since the development of the project can take a long time, sometimes it can happen that the project we're working at is not crucial any longer to the customer for commercial reasons. So sometimes it's you have to accept that. It's a challenge for both parties.
Okay. I know there's a question from the Arabian American University, so that's why we're talking in English. Rawanda, yes. Can you please switch on the camera and the Microsoft? I can't. No, it's impossible. Hi.
Hi. Hi.
Hello.
Hey, I wrote the question for you.
Yes. So you asking
yes,
whether
I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Yes. If all of these products designed before the COVID, and what is the new strategies after this pandemic?
Yes. Yes, they were all designed before COVID, and if I have to say what has been the main focus of, at least from our point of view, for our clients in the last year, as I explained, deal with many different aspects of brand design. In the most parts of all the new demands from coming from clients were not about product design, were not about developing new solutions for their collections, for example, but definitely were concerning how do we launch a new product that we already developed last year, but when the Salone was not on, then we skipped all the fairs, and now how do we launch it? How do we do that in a digital way? How do we use social media? How do we use, do we need a new website? Do we need a new e-commerce? And if we do, how do we promote it? How do we navigate all the different options? And how do we build a new language for this new way of communicating? I think that was definitely the question that we heard so many times. And that was absolutely the emergency of the last months, especially because, in the furniture sector, the companies were used to very traditional, way of negotiating with clients. So we go to the fair, we meet all our clients, we meet all our agents, and we do a nice event at the Fuori Salone, and the press talks about it. And now that we haven't had that, and we will not have that until next year, and now that there are no international customers or clients coming from other continents, because that will not be back until 2022, I think. How do we deal with that? And so I think the digital projects were definitely what we developed the most, whether it be a new digital platform, social media, even social media. I mean, as I said, we're not a web agency, so we're not particularly skilled in these kinds of disciplines, but more and more we have been, for example, accompanying our clients in building a digital image, a digital identity. So, for example, doing specifically content creation for social media or for digital advertising campaigns. And that was something that we already had done in the past, but that was the main need that that we had to deal with in the past years. So yes, there were all these products were designed before COVID, and since last year we designed basically digital solutions for launching all products, all the new at the same time.
Thank you.
Yes, and I will add that students are commenting in chat. So they told me that in Palestine they are quite familiar, they are quite used to use mobile houses. So maybe there's a market there, Luisa, for also for you. So I don't know if there are other questions, students. It's 2:30, so I will say that let's make a huge applause to Luisa. Thank you, Luisa, for your time, and thank you for sharing your project and your ideas and the way you act in making design and making Italian design big. So we can have the possibility here to applause.
Thank you.
Applause also with okay, emotics. Everybody's
Thank you.
applauding. And how can I say? I will use a famous word to say: stay hungry, stay foolish, be mad. So thank you, Luisa. Thank you,
all.
Adi, for everything.
Thank you.
Closing.
Thank you all. Thank you, ADI, and thank you to all who have been following us for 2 hours. So that's something. In virtual presence, that's even more meaningful.
No, you were amazing, Luisa. Thank you for everything. So in 2 days, students, you can meet the Studio Calvi and Brambilla at the University of Genova, or in 1 week here at the Academy of Verona with the Giugiaro architecture. So stay tuned, stay hungry, stay foolish, be mad. Ciao.
Bye. Bye. Bye.